Hello there, everybody. This is Ian Haugland from the band Europe. I'm delighted to be invited as a guest to the Stalwarts of Music.
Hi, Ian. Namaste. Welcome to Stalwarts of Music with Aditya Veera, Season 4. It is indeed a total honor to have you on the show, sir. How are you doing?
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, I'm doing fine here in Sweden. It's
Uh-huh.
getting close to summertime here in Sweden now, so life
Okay.
becomes much easier.
Ah, nice. And which part of Sweden are you in?
I'm just north of Stockholm in a
Yeah.
smaller city called Gävle.
Okay.
It's about 2 hours north of Stockholm, so I'm
All
pretty
right.
much in the capital region, sort of.
Oh, wow. Nice. And what is the music scene like in the city that you're living in? What's the kind of music
Well,
that people get to listen to there?
we have a lot of live scenes in this city actually.
Uh-huh.
For considering the size of the city, it's pretty small.
Okay.
But there are a couple of places where live bands can play,
Uh-huh.
and have jam sessions with a live audience and stuff like that. So it's pretty much thriving, I have to say. And there's a lot of cities around this country that don't have much of a live scene at all, which is, I think, really sad because I mean
Hmm.
that's where the new talents and the new musicians
Right.
grow from, sort of
Right. Right. Right.
the live scenes. So it's a pretty nice city to be a live musician in. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. In fact, Ian, you've always struck me as a really down-to-earth person, right?
Yeah. Well,
Whatever I've seen online and the persona that you project, right? So why do you
all
have
right.
such a badass look on your face in every photo I've seen of yours?
I don't know. It's just a mask, like the
Right.
guys in Kiss. They paint their
Correct.
the
Correct.
faces.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wear a big, pair of shades that hides most of my, since I don't have any hair, I need something to
Right.
to give my face a little attitude, sort of.
Nice. 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 Nice.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Well, I went through your biography to understand more about you, and
Yeah.
look like Deep Purple was an integral part of your musical upbringing, right? So, what does Deep Purple's music mean to you personally?
Well, it's my first connection to real rock music, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember first time I heard Deep Purple was on Swedish radio back in 19 must have been 70 early 70s,
Okay.
and I heard Deep Purple's Black Knight
Ah.
on the radio, and immediately that energy of the rock music and it was something special about the power of the screaming guitars and loud drums and Ian Gillan's fantastic voice. It was something otherworldly, sort of, and it just sort of grabbed my soul.
Mm.
So it was definitely the moment when I realized that this kind of music was interesting to me.
Uh-huh.
And from then on, basically every incarnation of Deep Purple from Mark One to Mark whatever they're up to now has been inspiring for me, in musically, and how you should how you can approach music as a drummer later on when I started playing drums,
Uh-huh.
but just sort of uh, how to listen to music and how to, I don't know, it's just, well, like the fountain of musical inspiration and musical approach for me.
Mm.
Deep Purple, definitely.
Amazing, amazing, and I think you share a common name with the drummer of Deep Purple as
Oh
well.
yeah, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Actually, that I took my Christian name is Jan
John.
Jan
Yeah. Yeah.
Jan Håkan Haugland,
Right.
and Håkan is typically Nordic. I
Correct.
think it's actually stretches from way back to the Viking age,
Ah.
and it's just one of those names that didn't sound like an international rock drummer to me at
Right.
that point of time. If
Yeah.
it would have been today, maybe I would have kept it, because
Right.
it's kind of cool. Håkan Haugland. But at the time, I took Ian Pace's first name, and I swapped it with John, and
Yeah.
made it to Ian instead.
Right.
And from then on, it's always been Ian Haugland.
Ah, interesting. In
Yeah.
fact, there's another musician that I love from, I think, who's from your part of the world. His name is Jan Garbarek. Have you heard of him?
Mm,
Yeah.
no, not really. Is he a rock musician or?
No, no, no. He's a jazz fusion artist.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jan Garbarek. Yeah,
Okay.
he's played with John McLaughlin, and he's played
Oh,
with El Shankar. Incredible musician. Yeah.
all right. Yeah. Yeah. I know we have some amazing
Yeah.
musicians in Sweden. Yeah.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, so I'd like to touch upon Europe, right? So I want to understand the expansive concept that informed the creation of Prisoners in Paradise. Take me through that session.
Well, yeah. The Princess in Paradise uh, was it was actually the third album
Yeah.
that I after I joined the band,
Uh-huh.
and it was a follow up to Out of This World,
Correct.
and we had I remember when we started writing songs for Princess in Paradise, we were more focused on making music that um, would work
Ah.
live on stage, and we
Hmm.
didn't really think in the terms of um, we wanted to break out of the radio A&R format. We just wanted to be a bit more, live oriented in the songwriting.
Mm.
And when we started working on this album, Guns N' Roses had made it big, and the more sort of rougher kind of
Right.
edged rock music started to get
Mm.
into the scene,
Mm.
and we wanted to embrace that rather than being like typical 80s band.
Mm.
So and we had a dialogue with the record company, and expressed what we wanted to do, and they were totally agreed with us that yeah,
Mm.
it's time to take that step.
Mm.
And
Mm.
so we started writing songs, and I think we had about uh, 10 or 12, well, even few more songs
Mhm.
ready, and we went into the studio together with Bo Hill,
Mm.
the producer,
Right.
in a studio in Burbank, outside of Hollywood,
Mm.
and the Enterprise, it was called. And so we started working on the album, and everything went very smooth and very fast. I
Right.
remember putting down 3 or 4 um, basic tracks per day for me, with just the drums and all the basic stuff. So I was extremely fast on that session,
Mm.
and I think we also wanted to keep it fresh, to keep the live energy, not being too much too picky on small minor details. Just try and capture the live vibe of the song.
Mm.
And I know we rehearsed a lot before we went into the studio and started, actually recording.
Yeah.
And I think that helped a lot, to make it fast in the studio. And so everything went very smooth with the recordings. And
Right.
eventually, when we were ready with all the recordings of the album. During that time, during the time of recording, the record company had sacked all the people that we were involved with in the record company.
Oh no.
Because this was just about the time when the grunge came in and basically wiped out the whole, all the 80s bands and everything. So the people that were supposed to work with us on releasing the album and everything, they were totally brand new. Some of them had never even heard about the band Europe, almost. They were totally they didn't know about and they didn't care about the 80s music. The new thing for them was the grunge, to hype those bands like Alice in Chains and Pearl Jam were also both on the same label as us. So when we had recorded the album and done like a rough mix of the album, we invited the record company down to the studio to listen to it, as you did back in the day. And so these guys, the new guys that we never heard of and they had never heard about us, came down to the studio, and we played them the songs, the album, and we were really proud and happy with it. And halfway through the listening session, one of those guys just said, well, we don't think this is a strong enough album to be released. I mean, we can release it, but it's not going to sell. We're not going to be able to promote this. You need to write more new songs.
Okay.
So that was like a hard hit, straight in the face.
Yeah.
Because the vibe went from 100% for us down to minus 100%.
Ground zero. Yeah.
Beyond, way below zero. So it was a hard blow for us.
Right.
And but since we were stuck in the record contract, we just had to do it their way, because they basically owned us, like it was back in the day, when you had a record company, a major deal with a major record company, you were basically owned. So that's what we did. We just continued writing more songs, and I think we wrote about 8 or almost like a full new album with songs.
Wow.
And during that time, Joey and the guys that were doing the writing kept in contact with the record company and played them the songs along the way.
Yeah.
And eventually they said, well, okay, record these songs and we'll put the album together. Which is, so the album, if the album had been released when it was ready the first time, with those 12 songs that we had first agreed with the record company to record, the album would have been out a year before the grunge hit.
Oh.
But since we had that delay with extra songwriting, the album wasn't released until, after Nirvana's Nevermind and Pearl Jam's 10 had already been out, and totally. So, I mean, it was like nobody cared when the album came out. And we were obviously very disillusioned as well, and went out on tour. And that tour, it was a pretty good tour, and great shows everywhere in Europe, where we did a European tour on the album. But then after that, we just felt like this is not the time for us. We're not going to do like some of the 80s bands did, try to jump on the grunge train, and all of a sudden Warrant releases an album that flirts with grunge, and they're start wearing army shorts and like the kind of clothes that Nirvana were wearing.
Yeah.
It just felt so fake. So we said, this is not the time for us. It's time to take a break.
Mm.
And that's what we did for 10 years or almost 10 years.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Could you also tell me the impact brought by Key Marcello during the sessions? He was also a guest on the podcast. In fact, he was playing in the neighborhood a couple of months back, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was a fun show with him.
Mhm.
Wanted to understand the impact that he brought in terms of these sessions on this particular record.
Well, I mean, Key Marcello was or is a brilliant guitar player.
Yeah,
He's you know he's a totally different guitar player from John Norum.
yeah.
That's the worst question you can get is who do you prefer as a guitar player, John
Hmm.
Norum or Key Marcello? You can't pick, you can't choose because they're so
Correct.
different.
Distinct. Yeah.
They're brilliant in their
On respects.
different
Yeah,
fields. Yeah.
yeah,
So I mean, Key Marcello, he brought a lot of technical skills, brilliance. He's very, very accurate and very fast and very, um, I don't know. He plays. He's very accurate. John Norm is has more of a blues,
Hmm.
vibe to him.
Okay.
A little more groovy, maybe. I'm not sure. But Key Marcello, he had his style and he contributed a lot with, his style, and also in the songwriting, of
Hmm.
course.
Hmm.
But I mean, like, did some great finger picking on "Mind in the Gutter." I remember he had played a lot of almost like a country style
Yeah,
picking thing,
yeah, yeah.
and some great riffing, and also he's a great background singer. I don't
Hmm.
think he's a brilliant lead singer in my
Yeah.
personal
Opinion.
opinion, but
Right, right,
he's a great backup singer.
right.
So I think he was very, very valuable for the sessions.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, still today I feel that Princess of Paradise uh, did not get the attention it
Deserved.
deserved
Hmm.
in any sense. I mean, I think some of the best songs that we uh, ever written
Yeah.
are on the Princess of Paradise album. I've always felt that, and I'm gonna do that
Mhm.
for the rest of my life, I think.
Well, it is indeed one of my favorite records of all time as well.
Yeah,
Uh, well, I'm sure these are like gems that get lost in time, right? Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I mean, there's you take any of these classic rock bands, they at
Right.
least have one
Yeah.
album like that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. For
take
sure.
Deep Purple or Led Zeppelin or Black Sabbath or
True that.
whoever,
Yeah.
you will find those hidden gems.
Correct. Correct. I wanted to understand within Europe being a democratic entity, how do the songs evolve in a live context compared to recording sessions? How do you guys go about that? What is the philosophy or what is the approach that you guys take?
Well, we usually every time we start writing new songs for a new album, we always think that the ultimate scenario would be that, like, you bring the new songs with you on the
Yeah,
road
yeah,
for a tour, and you play them live in front of an audience, and you get because that's the best way to absorb the song and to get the right feel of the song.
mm,
Because when you're in a recording studio, you you just record it and you do all the overdubs and everything, and you make the song finished for the album,
mm,
but you never really get a chance to live the song,
yeah, yeah,
and to build the song from a more sort of spiritual
Sense.
aspect.
Mm.
Yeah, because I mean, when you're on stage and you interact with all five people of us and the audience, obviously, the songs take on a different shape
Mm.
from the compared from the recorded versions. Um, so it unfortunately it's a little bit backwards. I think you record the album and you set the songs, and then you go on tour and
Right.
you start remolding the songs a little bit.
Mm.
Maybe not much, but at least these finer details
Correct.
that you know you wish that you could have had there from the beginning when you recorded it. I mean, bands like the Purple back in the 70s, they did just that. They were jamming on new songs
Yeah.
on the on stage and everything. And for some reason, I don't know, people, the audiences, or at least bands are afraid of playing songs that is not established yet.
Mm.
Or so I guess it is what it is. But I think the songs in our case, and especially for me personally, my drumming and the drumming style is always getting a bit reshaped during a tour, and I believe it gets more fluent and more melodic in a way, because I'm in you're interacting with all the other people, and you get a sense of what feels right to play
Mm.
at this section of the song, and
Right.
you don't really have that feeling when you go into the studio
Mm.
and record it in the first place. So yeah, that's how it evolves. It definitely evolves in different directions once we get the album out and start playing the songs on the road.
Well, you spoke a little bit about the spiritual aspect. I'd like you to elaborate more on how spirituality informs your life as a musician.
Well, it's all about spirituality. I think it's all about feeling the music that we're making, and the the reason why we're making the music and do what we're doing. It's a spiritual need to express something, that you have, uh, a creative force that you have within you,
Mm.
and it's that's why you start playing in the first place. It's not you. I mean, I can never remember that once was thinking that I'm going to be a rock star, in the beginning. All I was thinking about was I need to play. I need to um, play drums, and I need to play with other musicians and create something together with other musicians. And then once you had a group together and you started creating, you started, well, what's the next step?
Yeah.
To bring it to the people and see if they like it and get some feedback,
Mm.
and so it's the whole thing with music is deeply spiritual, I think, and it's like when you put a band together,
Mm.
it's you can cherry pick the very best musicians that you
Yeah.
have around you
Yeah.
and form a band, and it may not work. It might be the best musicians,
Mm.
solo musicians, but once you put them in the same room,
Context. Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't really click. And
Correct.
then you can bring together four friends that went to school together or whatever,
Mm.
and like you two, for instance,
Yeah.
it's when they started off, they couldn't hardly play their instruments at all,
Mm.
but they got together, and the spirits clicked together,
Yeah.
and they started creating something fantastic and something unique, and so that's the fantastic thing with rock bands. I think that
Mm.
you can't you can't force anything to happen. If it happens, that's wonderful, but it's not very you can't plan it, and it's I would say it's really rare
Mm,
that you get a group of guys or girls together
right.
and it becomes a great rock band. It's just that chemistry
Mm,
as you speak about, but it's a spiritual thing. I think we all we are deep within, no matter what we project outwards and what we say and how we look. Or, but I mean, once you uh, meet in a rehearsal room or on stage with musicians, that's when the true colors of your personality, your spirits are getting together. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it just don't work. So it's very interesting, I think, and it's very necessary uh, for me personally speaking. In between tours, I can tell when you get back home from a tour and you sit in your living room watching TV a couple of days, but then after a while, I start getting, I don't know, it's almost like I'm losing
mm,
sense of reality in a way. I can't really focus on anything everyday business. Everything becomes really awkward in a way. But if I take a couple of hours, go to my rehearsal studio and sit down and I play my drums and I just focus on rhythms and I'm playing together with other music, in my headphones. After a couple of hours, it all starts making sense again. So I don't know what it is, but it's vital for me, to function as a person in reality. Music is I don't know. It's for me. It's like I used to say when I sit by the drums and I start playing, I connect with myself.
mm.
I, it's weird, but that's that's how it is.
Interesting. You mentioned about the whole idea of chemistry and things working out in a band context versus putting together solo musicians who might be virtuosos. So, within an entity like Europe, uh, what is the criteria for a musician uh, to blend into that chemistry within a band like Europe?
I don't know really. It's we're such a tight knit unit, Europe, and we've gone through. We've grown together through the years, and we I mean, when we were in our 20s, we all had very strong ideas of how things should be,
Right.
and we were not very willing of compromising, and we didn't have so much understanding for each other's you know points of views.
Hmm.
Um, but we all had the common thing
Mm-hmm.
was and has always been the goal to do the best show that we ever did. And so we had a common goal, and we always wanted to do our best for the music
Hmm.
and for the audience and for the show or for the album recording. Or so that was the strife that sort of bonded us, even though
Right.
we were had different points of views and stuff. And then with time, and you get older and you get a broader sense of perspective and a broader understanding for the fact that people are different and have different needs and different points of views, um, and you get more sort of um, patient and more understanding, and
Hmm.
which makes it even a lot more easier to work together.
Hmm.
And we all have the same goal to make the best live show or or album recording or whatever. That's how it's all has always been the driving force for us, and it's like a guiding star that we always been heading for. So it's hard to say. I can't I can't really imagine what it would be like to bring a new musician
Yeah.
into the context of Europe. I think that would be really really hard because we've come to a point where we know each other
Right.
so well that we don't really have to, some matters we don't even have to discuss
Mm.
because um, we know that John Norum, he doesn't like doing certain things, like interviews and TV interviews and stuff like that.
Okay.
So we try to spare him. He loves to do um, you know do his things, whatever they with guitars and all that. But some stuff he doesn't want to do, and some stuff the other guys don't want to do. So we try to just let the people do what they're best at doing,
Mm.
and we'll build a great unit from that, a wholeness from that,
Okay.
instead of you know uh, getting crazy on John Oram because he doesn't want to do this or that. It's better to let him do his thing, because then
Right.
if he feels that he can grow in his whatever he's doing best, then the whole band is going to be better and grow with him. So that's what you learn when you get a bit older. You get more understanding and
Yeah.
realizing that keeping the same goal is the important thing. And I think we are extremely blessed to have come this far and to have gone through the phases that we have and come to the understanding and conclusions that we have, and that we're still around.
Well, I think that's the beauty of it, right? The camaraderie and how you guys support each other, being like proper team players, focusing on your personal strengths to achieve
Yeah,
the common end goal. And I think that's the beauty of Europe as a band together, based on what you said. Yeah.
yeah.
When Europe reformed in 2003 and recorded Start from the Dark, how did your mindset shift in the studio compared to the 1980s work? Did you consciously adapt your style to reflect a more modern production technique or songwriting ethos?
I don't think we didn't um, deliberately changed or try to adapt to anything. But I mean, along those, let's say, almost 10 years that we were not together as a band, we all, I mean, Joey, he did his solo things, and John Norum, he did his solo albums as well, and me and Mick and John Levin, we
Mhm.
played with a lot of different artists, like Glenn Hughes from Deep Purple, for instance. We did
Great.
some a live album and a tour with him,
Yeah,
which was so we all had a lot of different influences
sure.
during these 10 years in between. So I think when we got back together and started writing and recording the Start from the Dark album,
Mm.
we had new influences that just poured out of us when we started playing. So and I guess we had matured as musicians as well, and changed a little bit, but we never really tried to do anything in a certain way. Sort of, we just did whatever felt right.
Mm.
We it was a natural progression of basically everything, songwriting and the way we played, and also the way we recorded.
Right on. Speaking about your drumming, it is always balanced par with finesse, right? Are there any lesson on techniques or tuning philosophies you've personally developed that you feel has defined your sound?
Um, Not really. I have to be honest with you because I'm, I'm not I'm not very in my personal opinion, I'm not a very skillful uh, drummer when it comes to the mechanics and the tuning and the different kind of uh, material,
Yeah.
whatever wood your drums are made of, or what to pick in order to get the right sound and stuff. Um, but I mean, I don't really have any sort of choice. I think when we prepare for recording a new album, I usually have a talk with the producer
Mm.
and ask him, what do you think? What kind of because I think the most important thing is that the drums sound great on the album to start
Mhm.
with, and I know that if you have a certain way of tuning your drums and you as a drummer think that this sounds awesome, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to sound awesome on the recording because it's with the microphones and ambience and everything. There's so much
Yeah.
there's so many factors that plays that creates a sound, and I don't know about all that.
Mm.
My opinion is that the producer, he knows better than me what
Mm.
needs to be done in order to make the drums sound the best. So I leave that up to the producer. If he says that, well, maybe you should have a like smaller toms or bigger bass drum or whatever it might be, I'm willing to try it because if that's going to make the overall sound better, then it's good. I think I don't have any I don't have to have a certain kind of drum or a certain
Got it.
kind of cymbal or whatever.
Got it.
It's as long as it sounds great, it's good.
Nice.
And so for when it comes to sound, I leave that much up to the producer.
Mm.
And when it comes to playing, I try to not be a drummer. I want to be part of the machinery. I want to be the driving the engine basically.
Yeah.
And I think I like less than more sort of
Mm.
and play more melodic and play more with groove than technique sort of. I
Nice.
think that's more important to me to support to support the song and make the song grow. That's the most important thing to me.
Mm. Well, when it comes to something like silence or restraint in drumming, especially in a lot of your cinematic ballads like Carrie or Dreamer, what is your approach or what are your thoughts?
um, well, just you need to be dynamic when can't go full on when there's a ballad, but it's uh it's a balance between you can't play too wimpy either. It's you need to give the push and give the power to the song, and but it's obviously I think it's always about being dynamic and listening to the song and do what the song deserves or what it needs, and not more than it needs, because then it's going to be just aggravating for the people that's listening. But I love playing ballads.
Mm.
I love the slower kind of and the more dynamic playing. It's big open fill-ins and with a lot of air in it. It's and that's what I like with Europe's music in general, that we have both fast rockers, heavy songs, and ballads as well. The and everything in between. So it's a very dynamic musical journey playing the Europe songs, I think.
Mm.
So it's never boring. It's there's always a, you know, something to excite you.
Hmm. Well, from what I've gathered, your approach is quite simple. You don't like to get too technical with a lot of these ideas. But I'm
No.
also interested in understanding the fact that there must have been an evolution of your rhythmic concept, right? In some
Yeah.
capacity. So could you walk me through that?
Well, yeah. When I started playing drums way back, I was very much into um, drummers like Neil Peart from Rush and
Yeah.
Terry Bozzio
Oh, of
and
course. With
Simon Phillips, of course, and
right.
listening to
With Beck, Jeff Beck.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Listening to those albums and
Right.
trying to figure out what they were doing, and it was like I couldn't just get my head around it, and I couldn't, I didn't have the technique to play that, but I tried, and after a while, I just realized that this is probably not the path that I'm supposed to go down. I can be impressed by it, and I can try to get there, just to grow as a musician.
Yeah.
But that's not it's not the path where my soul wants to go. Um, I was rather into the groovier kind of aspect, and to me, I remember this was pretty much very late in my drumming that I realized that John Bonham, his playing was spot on what I wanted to do.
Mm.
Very much groovy, very much um, melodic drumming, and building the drums around the songs. So the drums became a part of the music rather than just a rhythm machine, sort of. And that was, I think that when I realized that this is the path, the right path for me, more of the groovy aspect, and play more melodic, and try to create the fill-ins and stuff in the music in a melodic way, not necessarily very technical
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
So I think John Bonham made me. He was my wake-up call.
Okay.
I was impressed by all these mad drummers before, but John Bonham came and patted me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, listen, make it, make it groove and make it melodic."
Nice. I'd like to now touch upon your involvement with Candlemass. Right? So
Oh yeah,
Candlemass's earlier drummers had a more drawn out ceremonial style of doom, right?
yeah, yeah.
However, I want to understand as to how aware were you of that tradition that you were going in, and did you intentionally aim to contrast it or simply play what felt natural to you when you stepped in?
Uh, to me, I've speaking about Candlemass, their songs and their style. It's the way in my mind. I think it was a little too doomy, too slow for me.
Right.
I know his what's his name? Is it John Lind? I think the
Yeah.
drummer.
Yeah.
Very nice guy. I know him. Um, but it was a little too slow, I think,
Mm.
because I remember I stepped in and I recorded two songs for an album. This was a bit later in the 90s, I think.
Uh-huh.
And But I did a live show with the Candlemass when I think John Lind he couldn't do that show for some reason, and I remember I reshaped the drumming. So some of the songs I played, you know, twice as as fast, sort of, just to get my type of grooves going, sort of. And it was interesting, but I don't know. Candlemass has never really been a favorite act of mine. Sort of, they're great together
Yeah.
as a unit, I think, but I don't know. I think it's a little too doomy and gloomy for my personal
Correct.
taste.
Correct.
But an interesting thing is that Leif Edling, the bass player and
Yeah.
the mastermind
Sure.
in Candlemass, he used to be a singer in an early band that I had called Trilogy. So Leif Edling came to my band as a singer for, I think he stayed there for maybe a month or two, and I think we did one show together or something like that.
Okay.
And but he wasn't much of a singer. he was more of a conceptual mind, and which later took form in Candlemass. But it was an interesting collaboration for the time being.
Nice. I understand that there's a long-term roadmap for the current Europe lineup. What can you tell me about it?
Well, we're keeping busy most of the time. Well, we've just been to South America and we're there for three weeks with the Scorpions and Judas Priest and Swedish band Opus and Foreigner. Yeah, so we did a couple of festivals throughout South America, and now we're just getting ready to start the summer festival touring here in Europe. So we're going to do about, I'm not sure, I think it's closer to 30 gigs this summer, stretching up to early September. And after that, we're pretty much going to start rehearsing new songs for the forthcoming recordings of the next album that's going to start in October. So, well, and that's going to take us into basically Christmas time, I guess, before the album is recorded. And then next year it's going to be a 40th anniversary of the Final Countdown that we're going to be celebrating with gigs, and also later on the new album will be released sometimes during next year.
Can't wait.
So yeah, it's been a long time. It's been 7 or 8 years since we released Walk the Earth.
Correct.
It's a very long time. Yeah. Still, it doesn't feel that long, but it's actually way too long in my opinion. But it's going to be well worth the wait, because I've heard some of the demos, and I have to say the song material for the new album is among the strongest songs that I ever heard coming out of the guys. So it's really exciting. It's going to be really a great album, I'm sure.
I'd love to hear it. I just can't wait to listen to it and talk to all of the guys.
Yeah. It's going to be. So I mean, the future is really exciting for us.
Nice.
And it feels like it's getting better and better all the time. I don't know what it is, but it's like we're going from clarity to clarity, and we're stretching out into new territories and play to new audiences, and we just have the time of our lives.
Well, what's the most this would only happen in India story you've brought back to Sweden? The kind you tell your friends over a beer that makes them go, no way, from your recent visit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean the Guwahati, I think it's
Guwahati. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And that great big festival we played there.
Yeah.
It was a very exciting journey, and I remember going there. I didn't have any sort of expectations of any kind, because when it's so different from all the other countries you've been to. You just become like, okay, come what may, I'm gonna absorb it and do the best of the situation.
Yeah.
So when we came there, I remember the first thing we did was traveling by bus from the airport hotel to the festival, well, where the festival was, and it was a kind of a short, not very long journey.
Hmm.
I mean, distance wise,
Okay.
but it took 9 hours for us to get there. Because we were traveling by bus,
Right.
and the roads were really shaky. So
Ah,
we were on this bus for 9 hours before we reached.
my goodness.
Um, yeah, and it was really shaky, and you were really beaten up by the time we got there.
Right.
But it was, I guess it's just the standard what it was like, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it was just the way it worked, and it worked. We got there, and I remember we during this bus travel we
Uh-huh.
traveled through what to me was jungle. It was
Mm.
just like a jungle, and then all of a sudden we came to the festival area, and it was like the jungle opened up, and there was like an open space, like an like an airport or something.
Ah.
And the you had the modern stage and the modern PA systems, and everything was very well organized.
Mm.
So it was very much contrast,
Contrast. Yeah.
from
Yeah. Yeah.
going through the jungle, and all of a sudden there was the modern festival, and 100,000 people there. It was humongous.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of wow, wow moments during the journey,
Ah.
and I'm really happy that we're able to go to these places and to experience this, you know, different realities in different parts of the world, and to be able to play, to play our music, and to enjoy, the different life situations, and what it's all about is that people are coming to the show and wants to hear us and to play our, to listen to our music.
Mm.
So we are really privileged to be able to go to these far places for us, and to, perform our music. It's a very enriched lifestyle we have.
Right. Well, I read somewhere that you were offered to play for Yngwie Malmsteen, and
Oh
you
yeah.
you did turn down that offer at a certain point. And why did you do so, if I may ask?
Yeah. I remember this was before Yngwie went to America, early 80s.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he was totally he was not famous at all, except
Ah.
for in the Stockholm region.
Uh-huh.
And he had a band called Rising Force at the time,
Right.
and it was him, and it was a bass player, Marcel Jacobs, that later played with Yngwie for a couple of years in America when he
Mm.
got famous, sort of.
Mm.
In
Mm.
any way, they were looking for a drummer, and I got to meet up with them for an audition, sort of. So we played for an afternoon, jammed on Deep Purple and Rainbow songs and everything.
Yeah.
But the thing was, Yngwie and Marcel, they were fighting all the time, almost like fist fighting
My goodness.
over, over who's was going to play the fastest and who was going to play the loudest, and whatever. And I was, there, I was sitting in the middle behind the drums and just watching. I didn't understand anything. What the fuck is happening here? I mean,
Right.
I was not used to that kind of, to that kind of vibe in a
Yeah.
rehearsal room.
Yeah.
So for me, it was all too much. So in the end, he said, "Well, when are you going to move your drums down here so we can start rehearse for real?" And I was like, "Well, no, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it because I have to go to summer school or whatever." I came up with some weird reason to bail out of it.
Mm,
So that was my short stint with Yngwie Malmsteen.
right.
But yeah, he's I mean he's an amazing player and all of that. But in my opinion, I think he's still too much for me. You know, it's the songs are not. Uh, I don't know. It's more like the song is a vehicle for his guitar solo rather than being a song
Okay.
with you know. That's my personal opinion.
Fair point. Fair. Well, I want to understand. You worked with two distinct leaders, band leaders. You worked with Glenn Hughes and Nicolo Kodzev, who
Hmm.
are highly distinct set of musicians. So, if you had to contrast the leadership styles of the two of them, how different were they?
Oh well, Glenn, he was very much he left it very much up to us as musicians to I think he trusted us to do the best. He didn't really get too much involved in what we um, uh, what we did as musicians, and I can't remember that we ever had any, you know, like him directing us, telling that it should be like this, and you know, in a certain way. It was very much up to us as musicians to listen to the music, listen to the songs, um, and learn the parts, and then we basically just played the way we did, and he seemed to be happy with it, and so he was very much trusting and you know gave us the responsibility, freedom with responsibility, sort of. And Nikola Kotsev, he was more of a, I mean, he's classically schooled in I think he went to musical university or whatever, and he's a classically trained violin player, and he's classically trained um, with arranging orchestras and everything. He's very schooled. He's a
Mm.
highly educated musician at the same time as he's like a hard rock guitar player like Richard Blackmore or something like that, with
Yeah, yeah.
very very skillful guitar player as well. But he had more of a certain idea of how the songs should go, not necessarily telling me you should play this kind of rhythm pattern or do this and that, but he explained the general vibe that he was looking for
Mm.
in that particular song. And I remember he used to send me demo tapes with the songs, and he had with programmed drums as it were back then.
Right, right.
So I basically listened to the programmed drums and um, I shouldn't say copy it, but I absorbed the general vibe, and then I did all my the kind of fill-ins that I felt was suitable for the songs and stuff. And I can't remember that we had any bigger um, um, arguments or discussions whether I should change my drum playing in a certain way.
Mm. Mm.
I think it seems like I sort of um, did the right thing for him. Sort of, he enjoyed my playing, and it was good. To me personally, it was really sort of educating to work with him. It made me, I don't know, more uh, how do you say? Uh, well, I was more on edge, more on my toes when
Okay.
recorded those songs.
Got it.
I had to put a lot of discipline on myself, you know.
Understood.
Uh, so it was very developing for me, developing collaboration with him, and
Nice.
in that sense, you know, to stay focused and stuff like that. And with Glenn, it was more about enjoying the music and just
Mm.
relying on your musical skills. And it was, I mean, the tour I did with Glenn in Europe
Mm-hmm.
and in Japan, it was, I mean, just the fact that I was sitting there playing, you know, Burn and Stormbringer and
Hmm.
you know the songs that I grew up with and you
Yeah.
know the songs that I tried to play drums to when I was a teenager.
Mm.
Now I was sitting on stage and playing these songs with one of the original Deep Purple members. That was uh, the dream come true, I have to say.
Nice. Nice. I want to understand your general theory when it comes to why many rock albums fail to connect with the mainstream.
Well, I think it's a combination of things. Maybe sometimes uh, rock bands or bands try to please somebody else but themselves. You know, they try and make something that they believe that they're expected to do. You know,
Mm.
and by doing so, they're sacrificing their artistic truth and artistic integrity, sort of. And I think that shines through. You know, when you start making music, you know, thinking that you know this might please the audience, then I think you're sort of on the wrong path. You're likely
Mhm.
to fail, and you're likely to get dismissed by the audience. You know, it's that is one of the aspects, and also as it was for us with the Prisoners of Paradise, there can be a shift in the cultural expectations, you know, and the cultural needs.
Yeah.
Sometimes you've sort of fulfilled what you were supposed to do,
Mm.
and because the fashion has you know changed to something else that
Mm.
doesn't resonate with what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I think that might be a big reason as well for albums and music to sort of um, but I think the most important thing is that you always have to stay true to who you are and what comes out of your creative soul. And you know it makes you realize also how lucky you are if you get a hit
Mm.
like the Final Countdown, let's say
Correct.
that
Correct.
that it you know resonates with the whole world and
Yeah.
becomes a classic song that 40 years later still has has the same life force. You know, it's
Sure.
that's you realize how lucky you are to be able to experience that. So always stay true to your musical spirit, because that's when you do your best, I think.
Mm. And what does the future hold for you as a musician?
I'm just I just want to experience more of the same sort of. I think yeah, it's I'm curious and you know I want to explore. I still want to just sit behind the drums and play and I I can feel actually that later I'm getting older. I'm getting more interested in practicing. You know, like rudiments and
Mm.
technical stuff because it's I realize it makes me even though I'm not using these kind of playing skills when I play with Europe, but
Mm.
it makes me calmer. It makes me more gives me more self confidence in a way.
Okay.
So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be practicing more and just having fun with playing drums and playing music. And what can I say? This is it's not my work. This is my life, and this is this is where as I told you before, this is
Yeah.
where I meet up with myself, and reality makes sense through playing.
Yeah, yeah. Great. In the interest of time, I'd like to come to the last part of our agenda. It's a very quick rapid fire. First question
Okay.
for you, Ian. What is that one song that always makes you cry?
It's hang on. Uh, uh, oh, it's a tough one. There is one song that I heard. It's a Swedish artist
Okay.
called yeah. He's uh, his name is Björn Jison Lind.
Okay.
Maybe you've
Wow.
heard of him. I don't know. And he was a close friend and musician
Uh-huh.
with Janne Schaffer.
Mm-hmm.
Jan Schaffer. It's a Swedish guitar player.
Okay.
And they recorded the song in early 80s that I heard on the radio. And for some reason, the harmonics and it's really touching.
Mm.
And the most interesting thing is that um, I was playing a show together with Janne Schaffer
Uh-huh.
in this city, Gävle,
Mm-hmm.
in a small like a yeah, well, it's like a club,
Okay.
and we were playing that song,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't cry when we played it, but I was really touched by it. And
Okay.
while we were playing that song,
Yeah.
I spotted a girl in the audience,
Ah.
and I while playing that song, and I saw her and her eyes looking at me, I just felt like, in a weird way, that person, I cannot let that person disappear from my life. She has something that I need to explore, understand.
Nice.
And never had that feeling before. It was really weird. So
Okay.
right after the show, um, I looked for her and I found her and we started talking. And well, to make a long story short, we're married today.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I met
Oh,
my
sweet.
wife while playing that song. And
Amazing.
another funny thing, she told me that song, um, when she heard it on the radio,
Uh-huh.
which was long, way long before we met,
Mm-hmm.
she had the same kind of feeling that song had something, gravitating. She was
Nice.
gravitating to that song. So
Nice.
in a way, it's some kind of we started thinking like maybe it's like some kind of
Telepathy.
a
Yeah.
spiritual thing, like
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
both
Yeah.
were connected through that
Correct.
song.
Correct. 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 Interesting.
So it's
Yeah.
and it's a Swedish name, so
Yeah.
it wouldn't make sense for you.
Okay. Okay. On the contrary, what is your favorite guilty pleasure song?
Guilty pleasure song. Oh, uh, what does that mean, by the way?
A song that you're very secretive about, that you listen to by yourself and you wouldn't like others to know about it.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm a sucker for prog rock. The '70s prog rock,
Okay.
and I mean, I get into uh, Yes's back catalog, for instance, Close to
Ah,
the Edge or
nice.
Fragile, and I've tried to play that music to my wife, for instance, and she just shakes her head. What's that noise? That's her reaction. And it seems like a lot of people don't really understand that music, but to me, it's always it makes me in a good mood to listen to you know
Nice. I think
close
that's
to
a
stay close to the edge. Yeah.
right. I think that's a common thing that we share. In fact, Bill Bruford has been on this podcast, and yeah,
Oh
that
yeah.
was that was a great interview indeed. And he sent me a bunch of collectibles and goodies. It was just
Really?
a dream come true. Which is in my
Yeah.
other room. He sent me like some signed posters and things like that. Very cool.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Amazing. Yeah. Yeah. He's an amazing drummer. He's
yeah,
also
yeah,
one of my early favorites.
yeah.
I mean, not only yes, but I mean what he did with King Crimson and with
Correct, correct.
UK. UK
Yeah.
is one of my absolute favorite
Do
bands.
you like Earthworks too? His other project, which
Y-
is called Bill Bruford's
Uh,
Earthworks.
well, yes, some of it I
Yeah,
haven't heard much of the
yeah,
Earthworks, but
yeah.
I like the Bruford
Right.
uh, band. The
Nice.
one of a kind, or
Yeah.
and gradually going tornado or something like that.
Correct.
Weird
Correct.
album.
Correct. Correct.
So yeah, yeah, and he's
Nice.
got a very distinctive sound as
Of
well, which
course.
is
Of
yeah
course.
unique.
Yeah. Yeah. If you had to put together an all-star classic rock band, you say, for instance, that you have a superpower of bringing musicians dead or alive. Who would you like to be a part of this dream ensemble?
Oh well, uh, that's a tough one. But are we only talking about deceased musicians or still
No,
alive as well?
both, both. You can mix them up. Yeah.
All right, yeah. Well, wow, I always wanted to play with Phil Lynott. He's
Uh-huh.
one of my favorite, not only bass player but singers and songwriters and lyricists, and
Yeah.
he is amazing.
Okay.
And so him on bass and vocals, I would say, and
Right.
keyboard player, I would like to play with the John Lord, the
Nice.
master of Hammond organ,
Nice.
of course.
Nice.
And guitar player, well, I have to say my favorite guitar player is in all senses is David Gilmour, actually, from Pink Floyd.
Oh,
I think
wow.
I just love his approach. He's like he never does anything that is unnecessary. He's so perfect. Everything he does is just
Right.
fits perfect in, and his
Correct.
voice is wonderful. He's like a soothing uh, summer breeze. His voice when he sings. I love him.
Right.
It's not going to be a very weird combination of musicians, but yeah, there you go. David Gilmour, uh, John Lord, and Phil Lynott, and well, my favorite drummer, of course, I have to say, is John Bonham.
Gone. Yeah.
Even though
So
Cozy
iconic.
Powell was meant a lot to me,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
think John Bonham is the most melodic and
Yeah.
soulful drummer.
Right.
Uh, so there you have the dream team.
Nice. Nice. What is your favorite cuisine?
Favorite food?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, I love Mexican food. I love Indian food as well. Not too
Nice.
spicy. When we were in India now
Uh-huh.
before Christmas, the crew members, we went to a restaurant, and our sound guy, he loves really spicy
Okay.
Indian food.
Okay.
So I asked him, what should I order that is not so spicy? And he said, well, I don't remember the name, but he said, order that. That's really mild, he said. And I had that, and I still went numb in my in my mouth. So I'm,
Nice.
I'm probably too sensitive
Spicy food.
for the real Indian cuisine. But I think it's really good. I like it, and I like Asian food as well. It's I eat anything. Um, uh, I'm not very fond of the Swedish cuisine because it's kind of a little boring, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Got it. If you had to describe your experience being on my show, how would you describe it, Ian?
Uh, very, very, very nice. Very nice. You're a good listener. You make, come up with good questions and good reflections, and you lead the interview in an interesting path, I think. So it's been a good experience.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. On that note, one last question for today. Down in the distant horizon, what would you like to be remembered as, Ian?
Uh, a good man. No, but I don't know really. I'm just hoping that I managed to spread some happiness among people, and to that I did a good thing.
Okay,
And yeah,
nice.
I got no big hopes.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I just I think what I'm doing is creating what I deserve, sort of.
Nice.
So hopefully I will be able to sit on a cloud and look down and see what the reaction is, and how my what people are going to talk about.
Amazing. Thanks for tuning in. This has been such an incredible blessing, honor, and a privilege. This interview will be additionally aired on Big FM Shillong and Aizawl, two incredible radio stations in the northeastern part of India, on my primetime radio show between 5 to 6 p.m. And it'll also be out at a much later point on my YouTube channel, Aditya Veera 1994.